I don't get scared. I get startled. Big difference between those two words. You ask anybody here who's ever been in a fight, turn around, look for their friends, scared, they're gone. They ran. Startled, if I'm with you, I'll just be, what the fuck's happened? Oh shit, okay, you want some? Okay. Just need to get my bearings about me, and I'm uppercuts and elbows all the way down. Startled, not scared.
The Honeydew with Ryan Sickler.
Welcome back to the Honeydew, y'all. We are over here doing it in the Night Pants Studios. I am Ryan Sickler, ryansickler.com, Ryan Sickler on all your social media. Thank you guys for the support on the special. Please, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's free. It's up on my YouTube. It's a labor of love. I directed it. I produced it. I worked on the post with it. My great friend Sam Vollen. We had a great team of people. We scrounged together and everybody killed it. So go watch it. It's called Lefty's Son. It's free. It's right there on the YouTube. And while you're there, subscribe to the YouTube. It's a free way to help the channel, the show, all that stuff. Doesn't cost you a dime. Means nothing to you and everything to us. And if you gotta have more, then you gotta subscribe to the Honeydew with y'all. It's my Patreon show. It's only $5. There's no tiers, no levels, and it's the same thing. I highlight the lowlights with y'all. And as I've said, y'all got the wildest fucking stories I've ever heard. Again, we've talked to people who've died. We've talked to a girl who had 2 pussies. We talked to a woman who had 3 assholes. We talked to a double lung transplant who married his donor's girlfriend, and they're having a kid. We talked to all kinds of people. It's $5 a month. You subscribe for a year, you get over a month free. And you get the Honeydew a day early. You get it ad-free at no additional cost. All right. Now, I'm slowly getting back out there, but it's the time of month here. May, Fort Wayne, Indiana, starting to tour off. Ryan Sickler live and alive. May 26th and 27th in Fort Wayne, June 23rd and 24th in Tacoma, Washington, July 7th and 8th in Appleton, Wisconsin, July 21st and 22nd in Tulsa, Oklahoma. All right, there it is. That's the biz. Now, you guys know what we're doing over here. We're highlighting the lowlights. These are the stories behind the storytellers. Today, very excited to have this guest on here. First time on the Honeydew, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Sean Patton. Welcome to the Honeydew, Sean Patton.
I did it.
Coming in confident.
Honeydew.
Coming in strong.
Wait,
too.
I gotta say, you said that was you said you've talked to people who died.
Yeah.
Which I now
Several of them.
put together means died, they came back.
Right.
Like heart stopped or
Yeah.
Well, I had a moment where I was like, is he doing fucking seances?
That's a $7 tier.
Yeah, like,
that's a $7 tier.
Like, if you got a relative you want to try and get in touch with, I will honeydew their ass
For
back to life.
$8 a month on the tier 2 plan.
just
We'll see if we can't talk to your
the
mom or
speak
dad.
to the dead tier.
Dude, I'm gonna start that shit.
I do not think you should not.
That's a great tier to have. I think we could get them. I think we just do Ouija board shit in here.
I mean, dude, there's got to be a seance podcast, right? There's no way that doesn't exist.
If it doesn't, you better jump on that
just
shit.
call
now.
in and just
the
like-
Ouija podcast.
Well,
and you
'cause
call in.
I mean, dude.
You ever do it? You ever use it? Wait.
Ouija board? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna talk about that one
Yeah.
second. But before we get too far away, I
yeah.
want please plug and promote everything up top. We're coming right back to Ouija board.
Okay, so currently I'm on the road with David Cross for a long time into the summer and then again in the fall. David Cross, just Google David Cross Tour.
Go watch his episode here and check out his website.
But I'm also, when I'm not with him, I'm also touring on my own. Go to my website, SeanPatton.com. Dates are constantly posted. I'm all over the place. And then my special on Peacock. I had to do that little. I had a Peacock for a moment. I have
saw
a special.
the feathers.
Oh, actually, okay. So I did an album for Helium Records that I filmed and cut together. That is technically a special. It's on YouTube. It's called King Scorpio. You can also get the album version of that. That's up on YouTube now if you want to see me for free. But go to Peacock. That's a special I dropped in December of last year that I love. I love the other one, but this one's like a high. There was some money behind it. Michael Che produced it. Eric Abrams directed it. It was,
my man.
Yeah.
Eric Abrams is the best.
great-
Shout out to Eric Abrams.
Shout out. Great fucking director for specials. We shot it at Tipitina's in New Orleans, my hometown. It's a great special. It's on Peacock right now. Watch it. I love it.
And go subscribe to Sean's YouTube
and my
channel.
YouTube, which
Build
is
that
Sean Patton,
channel
the
up.
comedian. Yeah, I'm building. I'm
that
building.
up. Yeah.
But it's good to be here with you at the Do.
Yeah, thank you, man. I haven't seen you since we bumped into each other. It was my second weekend of the tour too in Indianapolis. Yeah,
dude, I got
great time in Indianapolis.
I got like what happened. Also, that was the last time I smoked weed. Yeah,
is that what happened? The weed did it.
that was the last time
we were in that little alleyway out there.
Yeah,
for a while.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if we should. I mean, I don't know if we should say who we were with.
Yeah, who was no one negative.
No, it wasn't negative. I just know. No, that was it
It was my friend Libby Yell from high school,
and Raylan Nelson.
Raylan Nelson was there.
Granddaughter.
She lives off of smoking weed.
Granddaughter of Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
It's a moment where you're just like.
We should say she was
we should
there.
actually. This is actually what she wants. Yeah. But she was the one who was like.
Kim Yell and my friend Austin, their husband. Yeah, that little crew.
Right.
Man, that weed was coming around.
Well, that was the thing too. Raylan's already super fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, I would love to smoke weed with just you if your name was Raylan Jefferson or just someone. But then you're like, oh, but you're also Willie Nelson's blood.
Yeah.
I have to smoke weed. This is the closest anybody in the Patton family will get to the actual Willie Nelson himself.
Yeah,
but she's also super fucking cool.
Yeah, she's the shit.
And her podcast is fun as well. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, you did it, yeah.
Yeah, but that's how fun it is. I always forget the good ones.
Yeah, they have a great podcast.
I feel like that's life, though. You forget the good times and focus on the shit ones too much.
Well, watch this transition. You know what I'm not going to forget? Ouija boards.
Oh!
All right, so take me back.
Like we were, like almost like the conversation was over here, and then naturally guided itself back over there. Yeah. Yeah, man, fucking.
Weird experience with them?
No, but I'm like,
We did.
You did?
I had two that were fucking mind-blowing.
Were they actually guided by a spirit, though?
One was guided by maybe a spirit and stupidity, which will make sense. And the other one is wildly questionable. So the first one, which is more of the funnier one, was back, I was in 9th grade and my friend's sister was in 10th grade. Their parents go away to Greece for like a week. So it's party fucking central. And we're hanging, actually they were in 11th grade. So we're little 9th graders hanging out with these juniors at this house party. And they decide they want to do a Ouija board. So all the lights are out, the fucking weed's being smoked. And then I don't even smoke. And it's just got this vibe and they're doing it on a homemade one.
What?
Not even the Parker Brothers one.
What?
The homemade one, which apparently is worse. So they start doing this shit.
Scarier.
This is in the 80s, late 80s, okay?
Yeah, this board is made of dried flesh.
Dude, it was a wood board they made and shit. So they start doing it. And they start coming up with this whole guy named Edgar who was from the area and who had murdered these people, whatever. So we're calling bullshit on it. And this is how old it is. We drive, it's a mile away, to the fucking library. Yeah. And we go research this area. And motherfucking Edgar
was real?
Yeah, he was real as shit. It got scary. Dude. So the whole weekend we're like, what the fuck? And we're doing all this stuff. We're going to the library and it's matching up. So finally, the third night of this, a friend of mine puts a pizza in the oven and we kill the lights and we're all sitting down and they say, Edgar, show yourself. This is after like 15 minutes. And I swear to fucking God, the goddamn oven door pops open, fire shoots out of the fucking thing. And we're like, oh my God.
What?
And we go over and here's where the stupidity part comes in.
Okay.
This motherfucker left a cardboard under the pizza.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
And it caught on fucking fire.
Oh, but dude.
And it shot fucking out like that. But right when we said, show us a sign, I was like, I can't count that because you left the cardboard on there. That's what caught on fire. That wasn't just fire fucking shooting out of there.
I tell you what.
It scared the fuck out of us, though. But then my friend's dad comes home and sees us playing with it. And he goes off about how that's and he breaks it over his fucking knee, throws it in the trash, and they get it out of there. So then a couple years later, I do another one with these two girls, my neighbor, and she had a girlfriend over, and they're like, hey, we're going to do a Ouija board. Do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah. They're like, can we use your basement? I was like, sure. Because our basement was like an unfinished basement, concrete floor and shit.
In Baltimore?
Yeah. So we had we turned the cord lights off. Yeah. They light a candle, and we start doing the fucking thing. We're not doing it for more than 2 minutes, and the fucking candle goes out. I've got the matches. I've got the cover in this hand and the match in this hand. And I'm going to go strike like this. And I'm telling you, Sean Patton, without being anywhere near this motherfucking match pack, this fucking match lit.
What?
Burned the shit out of my fingers. I fucking threw that off. I pulled both those lights on. I was like, y'all gotta get the fuck out of here. You and your fucking Ouija board. Those are the two experiences I've had, and I've never fucked with them ever again.
Okay. So you had, because I had the exact.
It's ish.
I mean, but
it's ish.
That's still
It's
both.
ish. It's enough for me to say,
fire-ish.
never mind. Yeah, you know what? I forgot about that.
See, mine
they are both fire.
Mine were completely different. In there is never a greater time than a moment when you're doing the Ouija board and you're like, show us a sign to rip a perfectly timed fart. That was my experience. My first experience with the Ouija board was just say, you got the thing and they're like, what is your name? And it's like, G-U-G. It must be Greg. Because everyone's, I remember being able to, like, I feel us all.
Yeah, everybody's pushing.
But then, like, are you here now? And then, why? That must mean yes.
Yeah, let's just stop right there.
And then, can you give us a sign? And then nothing. And then, like, that was a sign. I didn't. Who did that? Clearly it was me. But the one time it was kind of, this isn't fucked up. I'm not going to say names, but it turned sexual, but not like it was a bunch of dudes. Me and like my buddy and my cousin, like we fucking were kids, and we basically just started spelling out pussy and dick and BJ and just being, and then it got like really like, now we're just, do you like when you were alive? We're talking to a spirit that was a whore. Like when you were alive, would you have fucked all three of us? Like, yes. And then my cousin at one point was just like, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom. And we were like, okay. And we stopped. And then he came back and we're like, did you just jerk off? And he was like, no. And we're like, let's ask the spirit. We're like, did he just? And we felt him like, no, like pushing away. And we're like, no, it's going towards us. Why, man? I didn't say, so yours are like bordering on, there was a presence. So mine's like farting and jerking off.
Yeah.
But I mean, I grew up, growing up in New Orleans, there's always like, it's a haunted city.
Let's talk about
haunted.
That. Let's talk about where you grew up and how you grew up. Because you are a New Orleans kid, yes.
So my family has a catering business. Shout out Patton's Catering.
Check them out, Patton's Catering.
They're still
in New Orleans?
Still in New Orleans. They catered Norman's wedding back in last year. I officiated Norman's wedding.
Did you really?
Yeah, completely fucked it up.
Did you?
Yeah, I mean, those things are weird because you like, it's fun. It was fun as hell, but I messed up the bridal party members who were going to read. I like fucked up their names completely. And, but Norman and his wife, May, they didn't give a shit. It was a fun wedding, but they own, my family owns a venue in Slidell, Louisiana, which is like half an hour north of the city. And it's old.
Do you perform there? Do you do comedy there?
No. It's mainly like it's like for wedding receptions and events. Yeah, but it's an old ass house. I want to say it's on the National Registry. Like it can't be augmented in any way.
No shit. It's historic.
It's historic, right?
Wow.
And but it's old. And after
you're over here saying old ass,
it's historic. It's originally called if any history fucking people out there who know Louisiana, it's called the Salmon Fritchie House. That was the family that owned it, but now it's just Patton's. But after Katrina, like my immediate family and like my uncle and my aunt, like basically 4 families, we lived in that fucker.
Oh, wow.
Because it got, it's about 6 feet off the ground. It got water, but it didn't get into the house. All of my parents' house, everywhere else, my apartment in New Orleans at the time, all of it got ruined. So we lived in this house for like, I'm going to say 2 months after the storm. And it was, it was a sitcom basically, but every single member of my family, all of it, claims they saw the ghost of that house.
At the same time?
No.
We all are.
All different times. And
did you see it?
No. But they all, no.
Everybody else
but everybody gave the exact same description, that it was a little girl and she was in the wine cellar and you would see her only if you entered the wine cellar from outside.
Did you try it?
Yeah. And the wine cellar was destroyed because it's not, they don't really have cellars in Louisiana.
Right, yeah.
It was just under the house.
And aren't no one's buried below
in New Orleans Parish, in like up in Slidell,
below sea level.
Yeah,
right?
But like down in like New Orleans itself, people are above ground.
Right.
But like, dude, it was there. But here's the thing, I I'm talking a big game right now. Like I'm like, they didn't see no fucking ghost. But every time I went to like see like, is there the ghost? I would have fucking vomited and shit at the same time and fainted.
I'm having diarrhea fucking motions now. I'm thinking about walking in there looking at shit like, oh God. But we used to do it all the time. We used to love to be scared. We used to go down to Baltimore City cemeteries at 2:00 in the morning on a fucking Saturday night when the fog's rolling in and look for this fucking one. It was a statue of this black angel, and you would sit in the feet of it.
That looked like I was like, there was the black angel doing the Karate Kid.
Yeah, it was. It was doing the crane,
doing the crane, dude. I was like,
and you would hold on to its leg, and you'd say, Black Aggie.
Wait, really?
No, dude.
Oh, I was like, what? Yeah.
No, but the statue's there, and you would sit at the base of it. Yeah. And if you said, I think it was Black Aggie 3 times in a row, there was rumors you'd die at the foot of it and all that.
Oh, yeah,
and we would sneak into this cemetery, but then you would see it in the moonlight. You're like, Jesus Christ, it's huge. It's this massive, looks like it's supposed to be an angel, but it looks like a gargoyle, and it's huge. You're like, what the fuck? Dude. You get those old cities, Philly and stuff. It's 1700s and shit. They had some wild fucking shit.
I mean, I'm interested in the idea of ghosts, but my issue is I believe that if they were as real as people thought it was, there would be true documented footage.
Oh, no doubt. Yes.
It would be there.
Bigfoots, ghosts,
all that
Loch
shit.
Ness.
By now, with drones and shit.
Yeah.
With camera phones.
24/7 there's footage.
Yeah. There would be fucking footage. But dude, it's still like, Kinane?
Mm-hmm,
like him and his sister, they go and like spend the night at like abandoned asylums that you can pay money to go, because they're both just like scare freaks. They just love haunted houses. He's got a whole podcast about it. The Boogie Monster. It's all about scary shit. I'm like, I don't believe any of that shit is real. But what I'm terrified of is my own my own mind running with it. And just like, because that's my whole life, dude. I was afraid of the dark till I was like 15.
Were you really?
I'm saying that out loud on the HoneyDew podcast to all the deucers out there. To all the double deucers.
What were you scared of?
My own fucking imagination, dude.
What was you thinking? But is it were they irrational? Not that your thoughts wouldn't be rational, but irrational meaning, are they monsters and shit? Or are they like someone's gonna break in type realistic fears?
It can be anything, dude. Like, I mean, like I having an imagination.
Snakes.
Having an imagination is one of the greatest things any human being can have, right? But there's also a negative side to it. Like anything, there's a dark side to it, and that's great. But I also have obsessive compulsive disorder. There's a dark side to that as well. It's mostly a dark side, but there's a light side to that as well. I talk about my OCD in my Peacock special extensively, by the way, saying that right to the viewer. But as I can't watch horror films without obsessing about them for weeks afterwards. So it's a chore for me to watch a horror film.
So what's the what's the first horror film you watched and what
Exorcist.
age? Yeah, that's a hard one.
That's still a hard one.
That's a hard one. My daughter had the stomach flu and was throwing up. Like, that's all I think about every time you see that projectile vomit. She turned and looked at me. I go, "Hey, keep your head over the toilet." And she just goes, "Wow!" all over my feet. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, and that is such a scary proposition in itself. The idea of like demonic possession, because if you grow up in the South or on the East Coast too.
Yeah, we got Edgar Allan Poe, bro.
Right.
But dark shit going on in that city.
Tell that heart where it is. Telltale Heart.
Telltale Heart, The Raven, all of it.
The Raven, he banged his cousin. You know, like where's that novel? Where's that?
Where's that story?
Poem?
Yeah, right.
Where's that Edgar Allan of the poem of how sweet that cousin pussy is? But that was too much. There's your clip. Me looking into camera and saying that. But you grow up Catholic by default. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, we did, sure.
All of the better schools in the New Orleans metropolitan area, anyway, are Catholic. And the problem with going to Catholic schools is you get ingrained with Catholic theology, and you start to, as a kid, you pray in school, and you start to think this way. So the idea of a demonic possession as a kid was terrifying to me. And watching The Exorcist just You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're in Baltimore. That shit's in Georgetown. That's like, a 45-minute trip down the street.
There.
It's right there.
But then, seeing early Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
That shit was
early
one. That shit was
the
all
original
terrifying.
Halloween was really fucking
dude,
scary. It still holds up.
The original Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yep.
Those were all fucking I can fall asleep. So it's scarier to go to sleep than it's to be in the dark. So I'm talking till I was 15 years old. I slept with a nightlight or a light on. Or
what was your nightlight? What was it?
It wasn't like a Mickey Mouse. No, it's just like a straight what's this dumb shit? Oh, fuck. I guess I gotta. My mom's making me do that. That was my excuse.
My mom.
Dude, whenever friends would be over, is that a fucking nightlight? I'd be like, nah, dude, my mom she makes me leave it on in case I got to go to the bathroom or something. It sucks. I'm going to plug it now. My mom sucks.
You're in here.
Also, I was a bedwetter, so I'm and a dog pissed my bed,
Were
too.
you? Till how old?
I was a bedwetter probably till around the same age.
Really?
Yeah, there's a correlation.
Both my brothers were, too. They were bedwetters. How'd you stop?
Becoming puberty.
Just stopped it naturally?
It was a process, but realizing this will ruin any chance I have at friendship.
Everything. Sleepovers. I remember my brothers are probably gonna be like, fuck you, but everybody would, if we went to my aunt's place or whatever, they would put a plastic sheet down or whatever. Yeah. But you know what stopped them? So again, I'm 50. I have a twin who's also 50, obviously, and then my younger brothers.
You have a twin?
Yeah, we're fraternal though. We look nothing alike.
Okay.
We could be just two different people.
No, because I was going to be like, am I talking to Ryan right now?
Yeah, you
or
are.
Is this Jeffrey?
Jeffrey. My younger brother's almost about 4 years younger, and those two would wet the bed. Yeah. And they had this thing where you had to wear a T-shirt and tighty whities. Yeah. And it was a buzzer that you sewed on your T-shirt right here, and it had a little battery, and it had a cord that ran down to this patch in your crotch.
The night tone.
Is that what it's called?
Night tone.
And it buzzes?
Yeah, I had that.
Okay, so that's what they had, and it fucking worked. It worked for both of them.
Here's the thing, dude. I talk about this in the special as well.
For real? It's called what?
It's called a night tone.
I never knew what it was called.
NYTONE.
Let me tell you something. You know who never got sleep? Yeah. I had to share a room with this motherfucker. He had a retainer. He would go all night, and then he'd be pissing. I'm like, God damn, I never slept.
But I
never slept.
But okay, my problem with the thing was the design, because the idea was
it the big chunky thing?
Mine went on my wrist. Mine you wore a wrist, right?
How old are you?
I wore that from when I was 11
but
to
no, how old are you right now?
44.
So we got 6 years. Yeah, we must have got the early one.
Mine went on the wrist. So but my thing was, the whole idea was it would, wake you up and then you'd stop pissing. But I'm like, when has being startled
came out though, right?
Or when has being startled ever stopped someone from pissing?
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Out of a dead sleep, it's supposed to stop.
It's he jumped out from behind a wall. I haven't pissed in 3 days. No, it's it would. But I would wake up and just disconnect it, like a snooze button. Just disconnect.
You didn't get up and actually go
just
pee.
Wake up and just be. Oh, dude, it was bad. I mean, my first ever sleepover, I remember vividly. Kenny Abear, shout out if you're still alive. I don't know.
What's up, Kenny?
Yeah, but his birthday party, there was a group of us from school. I was like the kid who was invited because his mom and my mom worked together. None of those dudes liked me, but I was in school with them. We were all 6th graders, I think.
You're the outcast of that group. To that group, yeah.
And everything fucking. But my mom, we had this whole speech, this whole conversation about how I wasn't going to pee the bed, not to drink any soda past a certain hour, et cetera, et cetera. And we were hanging out, and then we all went out. There's maybe 6 of us. We went out into the streets to roll houses.
What's that?
Toilet paper.
Okay,
TP roll houses.
Right, yeah.
I was a little fucking bitch. And I was like, guys, we shouldn't be doing this. And I was scared. I was scared to do it. And they're like, this fucking kid sucks. Well, go home then, bitch. Go back home. So I went back to Kenny's house to sneak. We also snuck out.
Yeah.
Right. So I snuck back in to the bedroom through the window, and his mom was just sitting in there. And she turns the lights on. She's like, where are they?
And you're the only one that came in. Oh,
so then she goes
now you're
and
the snitch.
Exactly.
Oh,
so now I'm the snitch. They all fucking hate me. But as a reward for being for telling the mom, she lets me sleep on the sofa bed and watch a movie while they all have to sleep in Kenny's room. No movie.
Isolated.
We were all gonna sleep in the living room and watch a movie. But
now they hate you even more. Like, this motherfucker's out there watching Friday the 13th.
No, because I was thinking we were supposed to be watching a movie in Kenny's room. We were watching. There was a movie playing, but we had snuck out. That's what it was. But then they were like, no more movie. Sean gets to watch the movie on the sofa bed. And I was like, okay. And I remember the movie. It was the first Home Alone, right?
You out there just laughing out loud.
No. I was up there just like, well, life is, how could this get any worse? Oh, the next morning when I wake up having hosed the waterbed or the sofa bed. Just full sprout. Like I'm talking Lake Sean. You know what I mean? Just like a full on
Lake Sean.
Dude. So now not only do they all fucking hate me, but the parents hate me. So I'm just like the most hated 12-year-old.
Pissed all over their fucking couch.
The sofa bed.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you talk,
they're gonna push back in and let company come out.
No, dude. His dad drugged the mattress out back and hose. And I remember him just hosing it all down.
He's not getting a new one.
Yeah, hosing it, like wetting the entire thing, and then getting laundry detergent and pouring it in there, and like trying to like wash it in the backyard. On like that, it was fucking insane. And I was like, should I help? I don't know.
Should I help?
And she had to call my mom to come get me early. It was it was one of those like,
that's terrible.
Yeah,
dude.
I don't think I had a friend again until I was like a freshman in high school. But that's motivation to stop peeing the bed right there.
Sure
it starts there.
Oh man, that's bad, dude.
Oh yeah, dude. It's that my teenage life was fucking hard. Whenever you see these teenagers now who are like crushing it
on YouTube, making millions and shit.
Like, fuck, man.
So what were you like? Did you play sports? Did you date? Did you?
No, I was way too shy.
What were you doing and getting into then?
I was a very shy kid. Spent a lot of time alone. Right, a lot of time alone.
Do you have siblings?
I do, but I'm way older than. Well, not way over. Like I have a sister who's 4 years younger. Another sister who's 10 years younger, and my brother's 14 years younger.
Damn, okay.
So there was like gaps, right? Mm-hmm. So I was fucking just alone, and I spent a lot of time in my head, which I like now. I just spent a lot of time like imagining things. I would just walk around the neighborhood by myself, just like imagining a different life. Imagine, what if I was this? What I had a very active imagination as a kid, so it kept me. That's why I say this all the time. It's fact. I've never been alone. I've never felt loneliness or boredom a day in my life. It's fucking weird. Like when people talk about being bored, I'm like, really? You don't have 15 scenarios to just restructure in your head? You don't have this one alternate reality you occasionally visit from time to time where you're like, what if I did this for a living? What if I were an FBI agent? What if I was a Navy SEAL?
Also, what a magical city to be in with that imagination, too. You're not in just some fucking middle of nowhere.
I was in the shit suburbs growing up. Like, my parents are both from the lower ninth. Like, they're a legit hardcore New Orleanians, but they moved us out to, we were in New Orleans East, which is like the Jersey of
Manhattan.
New Orleans. Yeah. and then Chalmette, which is like the Staten Island.
I see.
And then Slidell eventually, which is like the Yonkers. You know, I'm using New York because it's just the easiest one to get. But like, yeah, I was just a fucking dweeb. But my friends, the only friends I really had growing, like in my from 13 to maybe 16, were cousins because I had a lot of cousins my age, right? So it's almost, cousins are great because they kind of have to hang out with you. You know what I mean? There's like, okay, we've got to. But I was, I get along with my cousins still, but I had some that like, I have a cousin I know I would love to know what he's up to, but I probably will never speak to him again because this life veered in different directions. And so when I was 13, right? Chalmette, Louisiana. If you've ever been, I mean, I think Staten Island's it's a joking description, but Chalmette's just like an industrial shithole sort of, I'm not saying the people are shit. I'm just saying the actual area. It's just east of New Orleans. It's about 10 miles east of New Orleans. It's where the Chalmette National Battlefield is, where an actual like Revolutionary War battle took place. And it's like, that's beautiful. But the rest of it's just flat, dirty, low rent. They're called Chalmatians or Yats. It's like you get fucking made fun of a lot as a Chalmatian in every other part of New Orleans. But there's good people there. But there's a lot of wooded areas up there, right? So me and my cousin and one of my other friends, we used to always ride our bikes and go into the woods. We're just like this. I think everybody's experienced this in a suburb you grow up in. The woods. It's the first place you want to go as a teenage boy.
Yeah.
Just freedom in the woods. At first, it starts with just like, playing as innocent games. I'm going to be this character. You guys. Then it becomes like,
Ever do
hide and
capture the
seek.
flag and stuff like
We
that?
did manhunt a lot.
Yeah. What's manhunt?
It's where one person gets like a 10-minute head start,
go after them.
and everybody's just and everybody else is trying to capture the one man.
That's a good one,
Yeah, and basically just like grown up hide and seek, but there was no hiding.
Mm-hmm.
You were just trying to elude. But and then it turned into like first place I ever smoked a cigarette. First place I ever smoked weed. First place I ever fucking saw a girl's tits. First time ever. I'm saying this honestly. First time I ever remember jerking off like a man. Like hand pulling on the pud.
When you say,
woods.
hold on, jerking off
Yeah.
like a man, you mean yourself.
Well, I think
Not another man.
Yes, jerking off myself.
Yeah, that's what I make this.
Yeah. But at my early masturbation, I would lay flat.
In the woods?
No, in the woods. Yeah.
Okay.
The first time I remember, like, what is the classic masturbation technique of lubricant yoinking it was in the woods at night with like a nudie mag.
No shit.
'Cause
In the woods.
In the woods. In the middle of fucking nowhere. No one around, but like just like
Yeah.
I knew where the log was, where you rolled it back, and there was just a bunch of fucking playboys and penthouses, and people would just add to it. That's
Today's kids are never even going to know what
They're
that's
never
like.
gonna even
You
understand.
can go to fisting.com
Yeah,
right now.
exactly.
yeah.
community jerk off logs.
You're pushing a log away to see some
Oh, yeah.
titties.
Oh, yeah, dude. And sometimes you'd go back there and there'd be a fresh mag, and you were like,
Like,
what?
yeah, penthouse. They're peeing in this one? Okay.
I mean, the first time you see a hustler, and you're like, holy
Yeah.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
Hustler was a little mind-blowing back
Yeah,
then. Yeah,
dude.
like, huh?
Now that's mild.
Yeah, now it's nothing.
Now it's
That's
like-
a hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you can like show your kid that.
That's
And be
your
like, that's no
profile
big deal.
pic now, yeah.
You got that on. People wear like, people got t-shirts of just like spreads. It's like, that's
Oh
not, it's
my
a
God.
woman's body.
What do you do? I'm looking inside your pussy. Yeah, it's my profile pic. Big deal.
Yeah.
My name's Karen.
But I mean, pre that time when I used to, masturbation would be laying flat on the ground and just swiping right and left on a carpet,
Yeah.
and then just blowing whatever into your fucking underwear. But like, a little personal there, but that's what podcasting's about. But yeah, my cousin.
I've never tried
Yeah.
that technique.
My cousin is. I don't know if I want to use his real fucking name.
Don't.
I'll call him JJ though,
There
because
you go.
he went by initials like that. My cousin and my buddy Bobby. I could probably use his real name. It's not a big deal. But we were in the fucking woods and we were just dicking around. I was 13. We're all 13 pretty much. Just being fucking kids, and we're riding our bike out. We're riding our bikes out of the woods, and there's these like 4 dudes, and they have fireworks. That was a big fucking thing in Louisiana, year round. Somebody had bottle rockets and jumping jacks. You can get those any time of year. And bottle rocket wars were fun. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, we used to do
little
them all the
moon
time,
travelers
yeah.
just flashing at each other, right? And so jumping jacks, those were a little more high end, but you'd unravel the packs and just get little individual ones. And you light those and just. Pew. So we ride by those guys and just sort of like I remember being like, oh, we can join in. Maybe these guys will let us. And I asked one of the guys, I'm like, hey man, are any of these for sale? And I still remember the dude's look, which is a look I didn't identify then, but a look now I would know definitively as, oh, we're gonna fuck these kids up. Like it's just a straight up like he gave me this look of just like, and I was like this thing of like, oh, sorry. And he's like, no, what's your name? Come here. And I remember like walking over. They were a little older. And I was like, oh yeah, just, I'm Sean, whatever. And he lit a bottle rocket, right? And he's like, here you go. He lit it. He's like, throw it. And when he put it in my hand, he then held my hand. So it just
Burn the shit out of your hand.
Yeah, burn the shit. But it was just those little moon travelers.
Yeah, I know.
So it wasn't like a big daddy, but it was enough to be like, ow, ow. But I was such a fucking wuss that I was just pretended like it was like, ha, that sucks. But just like, that's totally cool. And then my cousin JJ got like, hey, what the fuck, man? And then they just beat the ever living fucking shit out of him.
Oh no! Did
And they
really?
made and one of the guys
beat him for real.
dude. I mean, it was
3 of them.
So 2 of the guys held me down because my other And I ain't mad at him for this, but he took off. My buddy Bobby just got right on his bike and shot the fuck out of there.
I got that friend too.
Right? Just got the fuck out of there. And in my head, I was like, oh, he's probably going to come back with people. He's probably going to come back.
Get a posse.
I'm like, he's somebody.
Yeah.
He's coming back with parents. He's coming back. So I remember that being a lingering thing in the back of my head, like, Bobby's going to come back at some point. But my cousin JJ, he steps up. One of the guys like, what the fuck you said? And my cousin was like a scrappy dude. He didn't give a fuck. So he like gets, bows back up, and first it's just one-on-one and it's fine. And then one of the other guys jumps in, and I try to I'm just like screaming at the top of my lungs. And one of the guys is holding me fucking still. He's like, you fucking move, I'll fucking kill you, you little fucking faggot. And I'm like, and they're just now 3-on-1. But they're not just beating him up. They're now treating him like I guess the best way to describe it would be like if you saw 3 future sociopaths torturing a dog. You know what I'm saying?
They were fucking him up like that.
I remember they did the thing where they lit a jumping jack packet and put it down the back of his shirt.
Oh my God.
Now he quickly, once it went off, he threw his shirt off and ran away from it. But they thought it was hilarious. They were throwing fucking logs at him and shit. And there's a canal. This is one of the worst. This is a thing that I didn't understand. I think there is some, it's important to identify child trauma now. We understand that shit. You know what I mean? But this is something I can honestly say traumatized. My first experience of oh, that's what trauma was. Because I had nightmares about this moment. I would have days where I would be fine. And then out of nowhere, just the memory of it would spin me back. But
can I ask you, when you would have these nightmares, was it true to the memory of what happened, or would you see worse shit happen?
No,
you know what I mean? Was it you're reliving it literally? How it happened?
Yeah, it was pretty true to the memory, but it was also it was just the feeling I had. It was a feeling of utter hopelessness as a kid. But there's a canal right there. Canals are everywhere in southern Louisiana, but southeast Louisiana. But there's a canal right there. So they're beating the fucking shit out of him, and he kind of falls into the bank of the canal, right? And he's on the low ground, and they've got the high ground. And I'm just there being I'm not even being physically restrained anymore, but they're basically if you leave, I'm going to fucking chase you in and kill you. Yeah. And also, I'm not going to run. I'm just I'm just frozen in fear, right? Watching this happen to my cousin. So every time he tries to come back up, they throw something at him or they kick him back down. And then they eventually, I'm guessing they eventually decide, let's see how far we can get to the point of killing this kid. Because now they're advancing on him. And I remember three of them. And I remember they give him the option of jump in that fucking canal or we're going to throw you in.
And do you have gators and shit in those canals?
No, but those canals are undercurrents and undertows and just full of fucking waste and shit. They're just disgusting. And he's not backing down. I will always forever remember him just being fuck y'all. He was not backing down, but they were just hurling fucking pieces of wood at him, grabbing chunks of mud and just throwing shit at him. And then one guy just is fuck this, and goes down and starts throwing punches, and they're fighting again, and he knocks him on the ground, just kicking him in the fucking head, kicking him in the back, and he eventually rolls into the canal.
Jesus.
Right? Now, he's not in the middle of the canal, but he's in the water, right? And I remember he just stayed in the water. He was defeated. He was just eventually I'm done here. There's nothing else. I'm just going to stay in the water. And the 3 guys come out. One of them grabs his bike and just ghost rides it at him, right? So he has to just sort of swat his bike aside. It rolls deeper in the canal. It's fucking gone. They're done torturing him eventually. They're done with me. I'm just fucking frozen. I'm just a little fucking wet rag at this point. They leave. He comes back up. I had pegs on my bike, on the back. So I rode him home. Right,
he had to ride on the back of your bike on pegs after he got his ass beat that, dude. That had to be just him laying on you. Yeah,
beat.
God,
and then
what a miserable way to have to go home after that,
dude. And then
that sucks.
It was brutal. And we get to his house, and his older brother, my older cousin, was a legit badass. Was a legit he's 5 years older than me, I think, but a scrappy. Everybody was afraid of Will. He was a fucking bad dude. And I remember him scolding me. Because when he came home, he's like, what the fuck happened to him? And he was he went to the bathroom and I told him the whole story, crying and shit. And then his brother pulled me outside and he's like, what the fuck kind of fucking little pussy are you? You didn't do shit. You didn't do a fucking thing. And he just let me have it. And I'm just I know. And that ruined that sect of my family and my immediate family just
really
never really healed from that.
Really?
Yeah, I remember when my
So it's your cousin. So what's the connection? Who's to your mom and dad?
Their dad is my mom's brother.
Got it.
And
And that even affected your mom and him
Oh
too?
yeah,
Wow.
oh yeah, because they called my mom and they were like, Sean, what the fuck? And I mean, no one ever blamed me, but you know, I was there when JJ got the shit kicked out of him, right? And when my uncle died, which was like late 90s, we were like, you know, maybe 4 years later. We went to his funeral, and it was very like, you know, I hadn't seen any of them in years, and it was very like, you know, it was a funeral, it was sad, but I could tell like he was not. I don't think he ever. That had to fuck with him forever, you know, because I also think about his position of he's seeing me, his cousin, not doing shit, but I was a little fucking scrawny, just wuss, dude, and like terrified of the idea of they would have fucked me up just as bad.
Oh.
But now if I could go back in time, I'd have taken the beating 100%, without doubt, 1,000%. Like that's one of those.
Why?
Just so he would feel some camaraderie, just so he would feel like because I think about, that was part of the thing that I spun. This has affected my relationship with people immensely. I think it's kind of what turned me into an empath though, because I think way more about other people than I think about myself. Right? Always. But like, I think I've put myself in his position so many times of just being like, what if that was happening to me? What if I'm getting the fucking shit kicked out of me and I have another person who's not doing anything? And then I cycle through the anger. I know immediately it pisses me off. And then immediately it makes me sort of feel sorry for the person, but in a way where you don't want to help, where you just kind of want to disconnect. It fucked with me. It like, I think that event just shit the bed in how I made friends and dealt with people for years.
And you were how old at that time?
13.
13. And he was what, just a little older?
No, same age. Like,
Same
I think
age.
maybe I'm maybe like a month older than him.
And
But,
it affected you in what way? You were just scared to even like talk to people or
I
get
think-
to know them, get
Yeah,
close to them?
I think it was a thing of like, I felt like, I think I felt like if you befriend me, I will let you down. If you come around me in any way, if you trust me, I'm going to fucking violate that somehow because I'm a loser. I'm a piece of shit. It just, you know, sent me down that spiral of like, I am nothing. Right. So
How
then,
long did that last?
I mean, probably until, I started doing stand-up at
Were
20.
you more scared of the dark first?
No, the dark.
All
no,
right.
the dark. The
All
dark.
right.
By that point, that's probably what ultimately led me not give a shit about the dark anymore.
I would say, yeah, like fuck it. Need an afternoon reset? Do yourself a favor and snag 5 minutes for a dadgrass toke break or two. They've got mom grass joints as the perfect pick-me-up to spark your creative flow, or the original dadgrass joints to quiet your mind after your 9 to 5. Dadgrass is legal. It's organic, smokable hemp that relaxes your body and mellows your mind. Their 100% organic pre-rolled joints and flower are very low in THC and high in CBD, so you can enjoy the effects of CBD while keeping a clear head. If you're not looking to toke, Dadgrass also offers the finest tinctures and gummies on the market. All the mellow goodness, no smoke required. All Dadgrass products are federally legal for ages 18 and over, and it ships right to your door anywhere in the U.S. So whether you're looking for a new buzz or a chill way to enjoy an old favorite, Dadgrass will leave you in a euphoric mood. Right now, Dadgrass is offering my listeners 20% off your first order when you go to dadgrass.com/honeydew. Go to dadgrass.com/honeydew for 20% off your first order. That's dadgrass.com/honeydew. Now, let's get back to the do.
Because I also remember the first like actual physical fight I ever got into where I was like, oh, that was a fight, was when I was it was 14, turning 15.
Oh, so after this.
After that.
I was gonna ask you, okay.
And it was like a legit, real, full-on brawl, like me and 2 guys versus like 4 guys. And I mean, everybody, it was one of those classic, like every single human being involved got their ass whipped. Nobody won that fight. Nobody lost that fight. Everybody just got hit.
But the moment that fight's about to start, did you know, no
dude.
matter what, I'm doing this one no matter what?
And I was part of the instigation. I was part of the process. It was over.
Oh, okay.
I was part of the reason because it was a guy's girlfriend was flirting with me.
I see.
And her and I were like talking on the phone, and he found out and came to my house with dudes.
To your house?
Yeah, but we knew each other kind of, but I had friends as well. They were there. So we like decided on like meet at Chamallow. It was a country club with a parking lot. right? And no one was there. And we're like, meet there. And we went and we just fucking beat the shit out of one another. And it was like, but I knew it was like, I can't, but also it was like pent up aggression and rage and disappointment in myself and like all this shit. And I mean, I can still remember like taking punches and thinking like, this wouldn't have been that bad.
Yeah, the adrenaline is a fucking beautiful
right.
thing.
And like,
yeah.
I think back about like, what if like I just sitting there as a kid would have picked up a fucking tree branch and just whacked one of those fucking guys? You know what I mean? And then sure, they would have came back at me with some shit, but they were also older. Like I'm guessing these dudes were all 15, 16. They were definitely older than us, but like they were, and bigger. Well, I don't know, but I would love to know where they all were. I don't even know their names. You know what I mean? I'll never know who those guys were. Ever.
And even with the success you've had and stuff, your cousin hasn't reached out. It's been a split thing forever.
Yeah, his
they
brother,
come and see you do shows.
His older
down there?
brother and I still talk.
You do.
Yeah, he like years later like reached out about it. But no, the cousin, his younger brother, I haven't spoken to that guy this century.
Wow.
In the 21st century, I have no clue what he's up to in life. I just think it's like one of those like.
Do you miss him?
I mean, he was like my boy when we were kids. You know what I mean? Like we grew up together, we were the same age. We went to different schools, but we were in the same fucking. We were going through the same shit at the same time. But I remember like comparing boners with him.
What?
You remember when you were a kid?
No, I've
you ever
never.
compared
No,
boners?
I hear this shit a lot. No,
Oh, really?
I've never circle jerked or
at least,
compared
I
boners.
never did
or
a circle jerk.
any of those things.
I never like bare dick, but like being like kids and having morning woods at sleepovers and be like, what?
Oh, in your shorts and
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah, just being like-
yeah, well, you can't help
Yeah.
that. I thought you meant you really pulled them out and like, let me see yours. and
Oh,
look
no,
at
no,
this.
no.
Okay.
I did have cousins, female cousins, who there was the show me yours, show me mine moment where it's just weird. And then you're like, well, now we can't talk for 6 months because we just saw each other's genitals. You know what I mean?
That's only 6 months.
But yeah, no, yeah, like that.
That's all good.
Yeah, that was a fucking.
So this whole incident, you
Yeah.
say it really traumatized you and affected you. When did you start to get over that feeling? Like, was it after this fight where you're like, all right, this wouldn't have been that bad. I know I can at least take this and weather this.
Yeah. I mean,
Did that
like,
help really?
Yeah, like that made. I remember that. I don't think I recognized it fully at the time, but yeah, I think like that definitely, you know, because I was also a piece of shit teenager. Once I got like into my late teens, like I mean, I stole my fucking mom's van. You know, I was terrible in school. I was a horrendous student.
Where'd you go with the van? Where'd you just joyride?
Drove a friend of mine in New Orleans so we could buy a QP of weed.
You stole your mom's van to go buy a quarter pound of weed, not just a cruise. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Did your mom find out why you took it?
No.
All right.
I mean, she knows now because I talk about.
She's a fan. She messages us. Yeah.
Yeah. She knows now.
Yeah.
You should let me some of that. No, but and then like you know we fucking. I mean, dude, I forged a report. I forged report cards for an entire year, my entire sophomore year of high school. I forged 4 report cards, right? And I did it right. I never said I got straight A's. I gave myself C's and D's. So every time my parents would be disappointed, they'd take something away. They'd be like, you know, you're grounded this one weekend, or you got to come home the next 2 weeks. You got to be here, you know, by 5 p.m. But they thought I was passing. When in reality, I was just straight F's.
Nah.
I was skipping class. I was sleeping in class. But I forged the report cards well enough. And when I actually got busted, because I was just doing it on like stock paper. And when my dad saw like a friend of mine's report card, which looks like a Scantron, he's like, wait a second. And then he called the school. And dude, that was one of those days. I don't know if you ever had that moment.
Hell no. He went and did all that. He went through all that research
Oh, no, he just called the school.
and was like, hey, this is what my son's showing me is bullshit.
It's just like, yeah, he's like, what? And then he went and showed, like, he went to the school while I was in school. He went, like, it was there. He went to school because they would give you, this is where, I don't know how they do it now. They probably email it. But back in the 90s, they just give you your report card for you to take home.
Ours was on this like weird paper though, almost like carbon copy paper.
Yeah, it was something like,
you know what I mean? It wasn't
sure.
regular.
It smelled. It had like a weird
and
scent
it
to
wasn't
it.
like a ditto. It
Yeah.
wasn't regular fucking paper.
It was like all printed out and yeah.
So what happened when you got caught?
Well, you ever have that thing happen where you come home as a kid and you walk in and the way your parents are just sitting there waiting for you? It's like, oh fuck. Like, I know. It was like a moment where like, something I have done, I just got busted for. And my dad had new copies of my actual report cards because they reprint them for him, and then all the fake ones. And it was just, woof. But he pointed out, he's like, if you'd have put this much effort just in the fucking school, you wouldn't have had to fake. You know what I mean? And I was like, I guess. But I mean, I was a fucking I dropped out of high school.
You did?
Yeah, senior year.
Why?
Because I missed too many days to pass.
So you would have had to repeat a year?
Would have to repeat a year. Fuck it. And they give you the option right then and there. They were like, you can either repeat the year next year and you're done this year, or here's your other option, drop it out. And in Louisiana, when you drop out, they give you this big ass, very blue piece of paper that you then have to go to every one of your classes right then and there. There's like a timeline. There's like you have 30 minutes to complete this task.
Really?
Shit. Yeah. And you have to have every teacher sign it. And then you bring it back and it's official, right? But you're doing it's done that way on purpose. I think it's the same thing with like making pregnant women watch ultrasounds. Like they make you go, I mean, on a far less degree, but they make you go to class, and like classes are in session, right? People you know are in there like, oh my God, what are you doing? Like, you know, and the teacher's going to sign it, and they're all going to be they're all going to be kind of dicks about it. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, finally, Mr. Patton's leaving us, huh? Well, you slept through the first 3 weeks. This doesn't surprise me. Good luck out there, kid. Good luck out there working at a car wash or whatever. They all say some dick shit. And then you go back, and then you're officially no longer a high school student.
Now, do you have a graduate equivalent or a GED? You have that?
No.
You don't? You never even bother with that?
I'm about to confess something. I've been lying about getting a GED my entire life up until this exact moment.
we got an exclusive?
Yeah. I just...
Lying to who?
Everyone.
Everyone.
Everyone who's ever asked.
If it's ever popped up, you said, yeah, I have a GED.
Because it was embarrassing. When I was a kid, I went to get my GED and then was just like, I sucked at this part, the school part. Fuck this part. So I just stopped going. I lied to my parents.
They think you have one.
They don't think I have one. Right. They know the truth.
For a while they did.
But for a while they were just like, when do we see it? I'm like, I don't know. They mail it to me.
And obviously, right. I'm assuming you never went and took any college courses or anything like that.
I just completely walked away from it all.
No shit.
But for years, when I was like a 20-year-old kid, you know, or like even like back then when my friends would be like, what are you doing now? I'm like, oh, I'm getting my GED. And then I'd be like, yeah, I got my GED. And just to say it, just to get them off my back. And then like the next thing you know, you're 44 on a podcast and you're like, it doesn't actually matter.
It doesn't at all.
It has zero, you know, it almost like I did everything on my own. I, you know, just tackled comedy and, you know, here we are. But like, yeah, I'm not saying don't get a GED.
Yeah.
Education is important, but I have lied to yep, there we go. I'm confessing right now. I've told so many people throughout the course of my life that I have a GED, never got one.
How's that feel?
That feels fucking good.
Good. Get it off your chest.
I went to like 4 classes. There it is.
Your whole senior year?
No, the GED course. It was like a 4-week class. I went to maybe 4 of them total.
All right. I want to talk about another story because I asked people to come in with
multiple
stories. Yeah, and
I will say this. I will say all that fucked up darkness, all that shit, all that crazy. I mean, like, I also, the early stages of my obsessive compulsive disorder definitely were rooted in that moment as well. I mean, it was already in me, but like, you know, like I developed tics and little.
You did?
Oh, I mean, everyone who has OCD has little rituals, little tics, little compulsions.
Okay, I did. Yeah, I would count by. I would run my fingers across the remote control that had 1, 2, 3, and I would just count by 3s.
Oh yeah, dude.
I would run up and down stairs and count every step I took all the time. It took me a long time to stop doing that shit.
But was it rooted in consequence?
No, meaning like if I didn't do this X number of steps, I'm going to trip or fall or something. But no, it was just something I couldn't stop.
Well, no, because for me, the type of OCD I was all based in control. So, for example, I had certain tics that were to prevent anyone from ever being beaten like that again in front of me. Because OCD is about control. It's rooted in control. It's you try to control the uncontrollable through these like compulsions and tics, which you know aren't real. You know have zero bearing on anything. The truth is you're just terrified of what if. What if I don't do this thing I've been doing? What if I don't kiss the fucking Pepsi can every time I open it that was a thing for a while.
I used to feel that way about praying when I was a kid because of the Catholic Church. I better pray for every dead relative or I'm going to burn in hell. If I don't say a prayer tonight, I'm going to burn in hell.
And even though you know it's not true, you're still terrified of what if.
Right.
What
Just
if the one
case.
day, the one day I don't, it's a sliding glass door and I don't walk through it backwards? What if that's the day that...
Was that a thing for you?
Yeah.
Was it?
If it was a sliding glass door, I had to go
Why
through it
backwards? What was the mindset
so,
on that?
you ever hear the theory of sliding doors?
I know the movie, and but I don't remember it.
Before the movie even exists. I'm not even familiar. All I know is what I knew was that it had something to do with alternate realities.
Okay,
right?
I was gonna say parallel universe.
Something introduced to me, like I don't, I mean, I think now most people are introduced to parallel universes by like the Marvel shit.
Yeah.
My dad loved Michael Crichton and Stephen Hawking.
Okay.
Those were his fucking, still to this day, his boys, right? I read Jurassic Park as a kid. Jurassic Park was probably the first novel I remember reading.
Really?
Yeah.
No shit.
A lot of it over the head, but you got
but for a kid who didn't like school, that's impressive.
Yeah. And he didn't make me, but he highly recommended I read A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking, which I slogged through, didn't understand most of it, but every now and again, you'd get something out of it. And then I remember there was a conversation in that about, I believe, I could be wrong. Could be something else I read. But I just remember the idea of like an alternate universe.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea for me was that what I had experienced in being in this universe, so much shit had happened in my life that I wanted all of it to be behind me. So I would enter backwards. It was, but that became more like that control, that stopped whatever negative awful thing I could think of from happening to other people, that would prevent it.
How are you doing that at other people's homes, or do you not?
Oh, buddy, I was a fucking Jedi.
Stealth?
That's the thing about most people with STD.
Tell me.
STDs. That's the thing about most people with STDs.
This gentleman herpy motherfucker over here slid in out of nowhere.
Listen, I know exactly how many bumps I got and why and where from. And I only got those bumps because I had this one compulsion where I had to put a condom on. Every time I had sex, I had to put a condom on first. But everyone with both STDs and OCD, they are similar. You'll never know until you know.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's the damn truth.
But most people with OCD are fucking ninja-like at hiding the ticks.
So you would still be able to slide in a back, step in a sliding glass door
100%.
backwards and not even have
because you would
notice.
open it and then find a way to be like, wait, is the light still on? Oh, it is. You know.
That's good. Yeah,
dude, constantly. Or slide it open and be like, wait, what? Were they talking to me? And then you out the door. It just, you know what I mean? I mean, I talked about this. You're good at these motherfuckers. I talked about this one on Dr. Drew, but I'm talking years, man. I had to, at midnight, wherever the fuck I was, at midnight, I had to microwave exactly nothing. I had nothing. I had to microwave nothing for exactly 33 seconds.
How would you be able to do that every night?
Now, when you're living with your parents, easy. Go downstairs to the kitchen, do it, right? And if they were ever in there when, I did this probably 4 or 5 times. I would just pretend like I was microwaving something. But it would be nothing.
Why couldn't you actually put something in there?
Well, here's the thing. That tick was all based around preventing the nuclear apocalypse, right?
Explain that.
Here we go. Jesus Christ was 33 years old when he died.
Okay.
You burn up 33 seconds in something that is nuclear or radioactive.
Why at midnight?
Just because it was the start of a new day.
Of a new day.
Yeah,
Okay.
very simple. And all of this shit was insane. But I remember the first time I did it was because,
And you made that up yourself that Jesus is 33 if I do this in a nuclear at midnight, or that came to you through reading?
I find that you never actively make them up. Your brain sort of just puts all these what ifs in a scenario, and you either choose or don't choose, but most of the time don't choose because it's a disorder, to act upon it. And the first time you do it, it solidifies it.
I love this stuff. All right, so here's a question I have for you. Have you ever started to do something where even your OCD is like, man, fuck that one?
No.
No?
I mean,
you just get them and they're on, and that's
then
it.
eventually you find ways to overcome them. Like I started going to therapy when I was 18 because I started having like massive anxiety attacks, which are connected to OCD. And then I had a full day where I was convinced I was insane. And it was after I dropped out of school. That's the other thing. After I dropped out of high school, I still pretended to go to high school for like 2 weeks.
To what? Your parents? Like you'd get up, where would you go?
And numerous
Anywhere,
places.
yeah.
Sometimes I would just walk around Slidell, which was stupid because I could have got caught. Sometimes I would go into the woods when they would leave. I'd go back home, but I couldn't always do that because my dad would just pop in and out of home a lot. Go to friends' houses when I knew they were, because I also had friends who were seniors who only had half days. So I would just hide out until they'd come pick me up. But I had to like simultaneously be like, hey, I dropped out of high school 2 weeks ago. I think I'm insane now. And I explained why. And my mom was an RN, so she was like, that sounds like an anxiety attack. I'm like, well, it's been going on for 3 days. And I'm terrified. I'm terrified of everything. And we went and saw a therapist and, diagnosed OCD and et cetera. But like, what was my point about that? Oh, all the fucking darkness and all that shit leading up to it. It sucks. And like, yes, if I could have gone back in time, like I said, I would have taken the beating with my cousin, but I couldn't have taken it. I can't go back in time. I did eventually turn that shit into comedy. Because I do feel like laughter became my release of just this constant like self-judgment, negative self-talk, what a piece of shit, what a fucking loser you are. So, but then making other people laugh became like see, you're good for a second. Mm-hmm. So I do think like, anyone out there going through anything, the life is all about perception. If you find a way to turn it into something useful, I think that's the key to life, truthfully. We're all going to experience traumatic, shitty, horrible events that are out of our control.
It's this whole show, turning the shit show into the funny stuff. You turned a traumatic moment in your life into comedy. Well,
into an ability to like at least want to make people laugh. Yeah. A desire to be like, oh, making you laugh almost like makes up for me not jumping in and fucking trying to help my cousin.
That really did stick with you, huh?
Yeah. Oh, buddy. I've talked about this event like maybe it was like 10 years ago, but with a therapist. And they were like, do you not talk about this on stage? And I'm like, I just haven't found a way to yet.
Well, I can tell you, I feel like it's super relatable. Most people are scared to get in fights. Period. Yeah. Then you're getting jumped by older people. That's a pivotal age too. 8th, 9th grade or whatever it is.
13. I was in the
8th,
7th
probably
grade.
7th grade. So these are like these are men to you basically. They can drive and shit. You know what I mean? So that's terrifying. And then to bring humor to it is something I think that a lot of people would really connect with and relate to.
Yeah. I mean, it's also, I mean, people have told me stories about shit they've gone through, and I'm like, man, I do not believe in the idea of wasted time. The concept of like wasted time, wasted experiences. I get it. I understand where it comes from, but I think there's something in everything. A moment to learn, an observation to be had, a thought that you're like, oh, I probably wouldn't have had that thought if I were actively doing the thing I thought I was going to be doing. But this thought now, oh shit, that's a good idea. It's an idea. Mm-hmm. Oh fuck, that might change my life. You might have had this HoneyDew podcast idea while not even eating honeydew. You're like, I should have been eating melons right now. I came to this melon festival and they're out of melon. This is fucking bullshit. Festival. And you're like, you know what, dude? I want to make a version of a melon festival where it never runs out.
And here it is. Here it is.
But yeah, but you were going to, the other thing you wanted to bring up.
Well, that's wildly interesting that it affected you like that. It's, and I love what you've done with it too.
Yeah, you got to do something with it.
Let's talk about your other story. It was an accident involving a girlfriend.
Yeah. So the girl I lost my virginity to.
How old were you?
19.
Okay.
Shocking.
I was going to say, I mean, for a guy who you said made no friends or anything and fucked up at 15, 19 is earlier than I thought it would be.
Dude, same here, buddy. Same here. Believe you me, when it was happening, I was like, oh, she doesn't know enough about me.
I'm definitely not going to fight for your honor. I'll tell you.
I definitely should have. The answer just now should have been 31. You know, but like, dude.
So 19. Okay.
Oh fuck! Hold on. Oh, sorry, it's okay. But 19. She was a fucking cool girl, but it was one of those things where, I was 19. I was a year out of high school, still a fucking, no GED.
Yeah.
Living with my parents, working for my dad's catering company, just being a fucking shit. She was a senior in high school. She was 18. We meet at Mardi Gras, which a lot of, Mardi Gras is fucking Mardi Gras if you've ever been. It's a good time, but we went to different high schools. We're both from the same area. And we start dating, and then it's just one night. I don't know if you remember your first time, but mine was definitely...
It was terrible.
Yeah.
Mine was.
Well, I remember we couldn't do it. Doggy style was the only position it worked in. For some reason, like, I just kept fucking up trying to go missionary. So she's like, try it like this, and it worked. So I lost my virginity in a doggy style position. So if you know anything about me, I think that explains a lot about my personality.
Yeah, I definitely did not.
But yeah, the only thing that was interesting in the slightest way about it was we were having a party at a friend of mine's place. There was zero furniture in the house because his parents had just moved out of the house entirely and were leaving it for him, right?
Right.
And so he had no furniture, no nothing. So it was just on the floor carpeted. There was carpet everywhere, but on the floor in a bedroom, just no furniture, no nothing, just banging on the floor. But it was one of those things where, that happened. You lose your virginity. The Catholic guilt that I still had, because it was, I don't remember the day exact or the date, but I know the day was Good Friday. That I do remember. It's Good Friday, 1998. Right? Because I remember being 2 days later at like a family Easter party being like, I'm a deviant piece of shit. I broke the Lord's rule, even though I didn't believe any of that shit. It's still in you. But so a week later, spring break happened. Now, the spring break was later for high school kids, right? Mm-hmm. So it was after Easter for Louisiana for some reason. And we go to Panama City, Florida with a bunch of us, right? And her and I break up, right? Like, it was during the day. We were just like arguing a lot, and she was complaining that I wasn't spending any time with her. I was just hanging out with my friends. I'm like, yeah, we're on spring fucking break in Panama City. The fuck, you have friends? Like, we're all the same group. We're the same group. We're all spending time as a group. Why does it fucking matter? And she's like, I want to just hang out with just you. And I'm like, well, that's not what spring break's about. What are you talking about? And we just break up. We decide right then and there, like, this isn't working. Fucking over. Fuck you too. So then, like, it's weird for everyone else because it's like, oh, they broke up. So, like you do in spring break in Panama City, Florida, everybody eventually piles into one car and gets on the strip and goes 2.5, 1 mile an hour even. You're just cruising, traffic's, you're shouting. Anyway, so my friend has a Toyota Camry. There's 2 people in front, obviously, maybe 3. Then the back seat's full, so he pops the trunk, right? So myself, 2 friends, and then the girl I just broke up with. We were all just kind of sitting in the trunk.
Like legs hanging off the bumper.
Yeah, right. So we're just whatever. She's on one side, I'm out on the other. We're not talking. Our friends in between us are like, this is weird. But anyway, we're driving along, going slow, and we rear end the car in front of us, right? But slow. It's a slow, like, tap, right? And immediately it's like, whoa. And then we hear the car in front of us, the dude jumps out. I was like, what the fuck? So I'm like, I jump up out of the trunk to go be like, hey. Like, by this point, I was able to interject, I was no longer like, I'm not going to let back. I'm not going to sit back and no. But I go to be like, no, it's cool. It's cool. So what, it's all good. The car behind us, I remember it was a Jeep Wrangler. The person driving it was fucking hammered and had fallen asleep.
No.
Right? So, right into the back, right? Right into the back of the car, 3 people's legs dangling, right? Six sets of legs, all
smashed.
It gets worse. Jeep backs off. This girl wakes up, goes, oh, fuck.
No.
Puts it in reverse, pops the clutch back, and hits the car behind her, right? Backs into it. So then they're like, on the horn. She's like, oh, fuck. Puts it back in first, and
oh, my God.
Twice. All happened in a matter of 10 seconds. Because we all saw the first thing happen, like, oh, Jesus Christ. And then they're all shouting, and the car backs off. And it wasn't like the legs looked crazy, because everybody was wearing, like, pants. But it was still like, oh, fuck, and then again. And then this time, the guy had to jump in the car and, like, pull up, because she was just this. I don't know what happened to this person with her life, but I hope she fucking changed.
Holy fuck.
Because she was like hammered behind the wheel of a car full of fucking
bumper to bumper traffic.
Bumper traffic. Fell asleep while driving a stick shift, by the way, which is like, that's difficult. That's difficult to pass out while driving a fucking stick. So all 3 of them, legs fucking crushed. They all fucking fall out of the. And I go and I pick up the girl, my girl, my ex. I pick her up to just get her off the road, not realizing, oh, broken legs. Yeah. So then she lets out this fucking mega shriek. This just like, "Wah!" And it was fucking insane. It was like, oh shit. And I put her back on the ground, and now there's suddenly everyone's around, a bunch of fucking 19-year-old drunk kids. Everyone's an expert on what to do in that situation, right? Then, ambulance eventually comes, cops eventually get there, statements are taken, that chick gets arrested, everything's fine. The dude driving our car, my buddy Mark, he's crying because he thinks it's all his fault because he rear-ended.
Right.
It's like, no, it isn't your fault, but I think it's this whole fucking city's fault for letting this shit happen. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it's millions of people's fault simultaneously. But they go to the hospital, as do we, and it was a thing of like, okay, we're probably not broken up anymore, right? Obviously. Your legs are smashed, right?
Yeah.
So we kind of, I stay in the hospital.
Got
for
a broken heart and broken legs, bro.
Right, yeah.
That's not a good combo.
Bad, dude. But eventually one of the dude's dads was rich, so he flies down there private, flies him back to Louisiana private, right? He charters a fucking jet, and he's a car dealership guy. So she's back in town. I stay. This is the part people think I'm a dick for, but I stay for another 2 days in Panama just because I was with my friends. Were like, we're not going back early. Fuck you. She's fine, dude. What are you gonna do? Go sit? She'll be fine. I'm like, yeah, you're right. And I hang out for 2 more days, but I still feel like shit. I get back to Louisiana. I'm hanging out at her place every fucking day, but it's like, there's nothing there. We broke up for a reason. You know what I mean? We're trying to still be a boyfriend-girlfriend unit, but it's like, oh yeah, there was nothing. We lost our virginity to one another, and that was kind of it. Because we were both virgins. It was a double. It was a whatever you call that.
Yeah, same way for me too. Two turtles on their backs.
Yeah. It's just make a wish because it was bad for everyone. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I mean, we both fucking, we both tried to figure out this is a thing, right? And I think it came out of she had just had both of her fucking legs broken. She had to have surgery. She was in one of the legs healed way faster. So she was in a wheelchair for a minute. Oh, that was the thing.
Damn.
Too. She was in a wheelchair. So her senior prom, she had to go to prom in a wheelchair.
Ah, shit.
Right. I went with her. Right. And all of her friends were dumb fucking cunts about it. They were just not.
What do you mean?
They just didn't want to deal with the girl in the wheelchair.
Really? Her own friends?
Yeah, they're just terrible people.
Wow.
And
I'd have leaned into that hard.
I mean, but it was my duty. That was the thing. They were like, well, you're her boyfriend. I'm like, you're her fucking friend.
Yeah.
But I had to push her everywhere. She wanted to dance. No one wanted us to ride in their limo because she had the fucking wheelchair.
The wheelchair up.
Yeah, so we had to arrange our own ride. It was fucking insane, you know what I'm saying? And we get to the prom itself and everybody's being weird about her in a wheelchair. It's like, you were all there. You saw.
Yeah.
And then the prom after party. And of course, she wanted to have prom sex, which was very weird because it's she was in not a cast, a full-on boot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was this thing gets in the way of any sort of sexiness. But we did, had drunken, not
prom
sexy
sex.
Prom sex. Yeah. And then we're together for a few months and it's, she's then eventually on crutches, but there's nothing there. Her and I, it was like being in a loveless marriage at 18 and 19 years old. Where it's we have a child, we have to stay together, but we didn't have a child. Right. We just had this experience.
That's right.
Where now one of you, she's broken. I'm too much of a fucking shithead to just be no, we should call this off. And so was she. We were both ignorantly we should try and stay together. And then eventually she cheated on me, right? Which I knew happened as it was happening.
You did.
And didn't care. Because it was
now you're out. That's all I need. Yeah.
I knew it happened. And one of my buddy, he was at a party and he's like, dude, I saw this and it was weird. I just want you to know. And I was like, I'm not even upset about that. And then she called me the next day. I'll give her credit for that forever. she called me to be like, hey, I hooked up with someone else last night. And I said, I know. And she got mega pissed off about that, as she had every right to. And then it was like, well, now we're just done, right? Obviously. And we eventually like reconciled and stayed friends. But that experience, I mean, talk about a fucking terrible, terrible introduction to love life, to like love, to like post-virginity, like romantic interaction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just like, wait, no, you're supposed to stay together even if you both know you don't want to based on one event that neither one of you can control, right?
Right, yeah.
I mean, like, what if I could go back to that? I'd have just never, we'd have just not, I'd still gone to the hospital, still been like, oh my God, I hope you're okay. Still hung out until she got flown home, but then never just been like, we should stay together, right?
Right.
Like that was just like, you feel so bad for someone that you remove all of your own integrity and just are like, hey,
I'll just suck this up and do this.
right? Because I got to be the man here,
Right.
you know? And,
Right.
and you got to be you're
And
the
being
vulnerable.
the man is being the opposite of that fucking thing
100%.
right there. Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
You learn that immediately. Like,
Yeah.
oh no, never do that to yourself again or to anyone else. But yeah, dude, that's one of the fucking, I still think about every time I go to Florida. I think about that moment. And
Yeah.
then last year, I did shows in Panama City during the summer, and I went and tried to find.
I was going to ask you, did you?
I don't remember it. All I remember is it happened underneath a walkway. There's like a walkway between two hotels that go across the road, and I found that walkway. I was like, there it was. But yeah, I couldn't tell you the address or anything like that of the nearest hotel. But like, yeah, dude, that's a fucking. Spring break, I've never had a good time on spring break. I went to maybe 3 of those as a kid. They were always just a shit show.
I went to one, and it was New Orleans, as a matter of fact. I decided at the time, so I was in college. I tell my girlfriend at the time, hey, I've never been to New Orleans. It's St. Patty's Day lines up with our spring break. I'll guarantee it's wild down there. Dude. It's not Mardi Gras, but it's fucking St. Patty's Day.
There's a St. Patrick's Day parade.
And we went down. Oh, man. It might as well have been Mardi Gras.
Oh, yeah.
It was floats and parades, and I was getting hit with beads and coins and everything, yeah.
Vegetables?
I didn't get hit with vegetables.
They don't do it as much, but that was a big thing for years. St. Patrick's Day.
Crushed by a vegetable.
Dude, I got fucking brained by a head of cabbage once. That shit fucked me up, dude. I got a black eye from it. Just like,
and what's the big Irish bar there? The Timmy. What's it called?
There's one called Parasols. That's the one that's like but Pat O'Brien's is what you're talking about.
That place is going insane.
That's down the quarter though. So like
that's where we were. Yeah.
Up on Magazine Street, that's where the St. Patrick's Day parade happens. On that parade, I don't think they do as much anymore, but they would throw vegetables. Because the idea used to be back in the day, you'd collect these vegetables, go to your fucking house, make a stew, and just anybody on the streets could just have some fucking stew, right?
I see.
But there's a bar. It's not. I think it's still called Parasols. I haven't been in a while, but that was like a legit Irish mafia type fucking.
Oh
joint.
yeah, okay.
And that was where like the parade. Everybody went to that fucking place. But St. Patrick's Day, yeah, dude, that's
my only spring break.
And
St. Patty's Day in New Orleans.
Down there,
wasted.
Right? Yeah.
Drove my little Honda Civic, 1990 Honda Civic with original rims down. Stayed at a shady, seedy motel.
Oh yeah.
Right outside. Drove in.
Oh, buddy.
And then just fucking walked the French Quarter and partied with the, masses.
Oh yeah. I mean, people get fucking nuts. I mean, but I went 3 times to Panama City. Right? And you remember, we're in the same age group.
That's where everybody from our place went to. If they went to Florida, it was Panama City.
Always Panama City. And there was Club La Vila and Spinnaker. Both of these were featured on MTV's Spring Break.
Were they? Okay. Yeah.
MTV fucked a lot of people up.
Yeah, I'll bet.
And that late 90s era of MTV where it was like Woodstock 3 and all this shit from Spring Break. It made it seem like this amazing fucking magical time, and it wasn't. It was just drunk assholes doing drunk asshole shit. But one year at Club Spinnaker, we went and saw 2 Live Crew.
No, you saw 2 Live Crew?
Saw 2 Live Crew for about 3.5 fucking, maybe honestly, 95 seconds into the first song when a massive fight erupted, and they just had to clear the house and the show was over.
Oh man,
it was fucking insane, dude. We get in, and it's like, oh shit, 2 Live Crew, and of course. 2 Live Crew doesn't have like an extensive reel of hits, but everybody knew who they were. And they, of course, start.
Everybody knows, hey, we want some pussy.
Everybody knows the 1 and 1.
Yeah.
She sucked on my
banned in the USA.
Yeah,
They went all the way to the Supreme Court and won.
Yeah, which fucking props times 10.
Seriously.
There's actually that aerial footage you can watch of them having a full-on orgy on stage during a concert.
Is it really?
Yeah, there's just like, they're just up there fucking, and there's like 18 girls. You can look this.
I've never seen
You know
that
what
one.
it was on, dude? And I might be conflating, but I'm pretty positive I'm not. It was on one of the Faces of Death episodes.
No shit. I've seen Faces of
Do you
Death.
remember those?
I
There was
do.
one of those where for some reason it was just like, oh, by the way, this.
Here's this.
Just an aerial shot of an orgy happening at a 2 Live Crew concert where no one dies. And now an alligator eats the sheriff. You know what I mean? Yeah, right? You're like, fuck, why do you put those two together? But the fucking, 2 Live Crew starts an hour fucking late, probably. I don't remember how late. Everybody had to go through metal detectors. So, but just soon as that song starts, a fight breaks out. It gets crazy. The members of the group are like, whoa, lights, and the lights come up, and then they have to clear the fucking room, and they basically kick everyone out. And then they're like, they start letting people back in to do the show, but we were like, we're done here. We're not going back in there.
Fuck that.
We're gonna go to Club La Vila where it's worse. But yeah, that shit. Don't go to spring break. I don't even know if kids do spring break.
I don't know anymore either.
If you do spring break now, use it as an actual adventure. Like, I wish I would have done that when I was like 20, 21, being like, hey, we're going to go to fucking Europe, or we're going to go to New York City, or we're going to go to fucking Chicago and just see places. And like, or we're going to go hiking or something. But like, just going like, we're going to go to Florida. We're all going to be 9 of us in the hotel room. We're going to fucking drink Natty Light and Natty Ice. We're going to buy terrible Coke. Someone's going to do bad acid. We're going to have to find them.
Find them.
Yeah, we're going to fucking find them.
Search party involved.
And they're going to be back where you originally thought they were. You know, someone's going to get their wallet stoked. Someone's going to get their fucking legs crushed.
Yeah.
It was just always a bad experience. God. But, like that fucking, I still think that I just got out of an 8-year relationship for good reasons. We're still friends and shit. But like the way I dealt with like relationships going forward from that event was like, I was cautious about everything, overcautious, about even telling a woman how I felt.
Yeah.
Because I was like, and then I started doing stand up a few years later, or a couple years, like 2 years later.
That changed everything.
22. I was 22 when I started. Yeah. Well, that just changed everything because, you remember, I think anybody who does comedy for a long time knows that like you discover who you really are in that first year, because you're up there because of your ideas, because of what you're saying on stage. You start to realize like, man, I didn't even know that about me until I had to present it to strangers. Shit I could never tell family, could barely tell friends.
There's little things too. Like I didn't realize how much I said fuck or whatever until I started listening back to myself. I'm like, oh my God, I dropped that like 20 times in a 5-minute set. What the hell? I don't need to do it that much.
I didn't realize how obsessed with ass I was.
Yeah.
Or how much I liked making bird sounds. You start listening back to yourself like, why do I do that voice? And that's where Gilbert Gottfried came from. Even though I think that's how he naturally talked. But R.I.P., one of the best.
R.I.P. Gilbert Gottfried.
But yeah, man, that's you find the beauty in all that shit.
All right, so now after everything we've talked about, this is your first time here. I'm going to ask you advice you would give to your 16-year-old self.
Advice I would give to my 16-year-old self is don't think about being cool. Don't try actively to not follow the herd, because you end up doing that anyway.
Great advice.
You end up doing that anyway. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't accept the fact that you're any 16-year-old. You're a dorky, you're in development. You're not a human being yet. You're learning about who you are. You're still growing. You're still changing. So much of your life is ahead of you. You should not be at all concerned with who you are at that age. Know who you are and lean into it. But know that it's going to change. You're going to grow. You're going to get fucking wiser, smarter, better looking, more adept at whatever you want to do in life. So just do that. Accept that you're flawed at 16 more than any other year in your life. And the rest of your life will be great. I believe that.
That's great, dude.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, this has been a really fun, great episode.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming on here.
Yeah.
Please plug and promote everything again. Make sure you hit that YouTube channel.
Yes.
Make sure you subscribe to
So,
Sean
MeSeanPatton.com, Sean Patton Comedian on YouTube. Mr. Sean Patton on Instagram, and follow me on that. I post shit on that all the time. I know it's 3 different things, but there's fucking an obnoxious amount of Sean Pattons that don't do comedy that have all the Sean Patton fucking shit locked down. So I had to find little tricks. But yeah, and the Peacock special, it's called Number One. It is not arrogant. It is based on Life is a Bedwetter, number 1. And it's also my first special. It was one of my first. So it's like, but I love that one too. So check them all out. I'm here doing it.
All right.
Doing it big. Ryan Sickler.
Thank you for coming on, dude.
Shit.
Yeah, I'm just going to say it like I always say. As always, RyanSickler.com, Ryan Sickler on all social media. We'll talk to y'all next week.